Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I love? Patreon.com/inkdependence, where patrons get access to a patron-only Discord, ad-free videos, and the joy of knowing they help support this channel. Hello folks, welcome to Inkdependence. I'm Mike, and today I'm bringing you one of my favorite inks. I really like this one. This is Color Traveler Saijo Red Brick Chimney, and this was given to me a while ago by Vanness Pens, so thank you very much, Lisa, for giving me this for a review and such, and introducing me to this cool company called Color Traveler. I guess it's a brand called Color Traveler underneath First Point, which I'm not familiar with. It's interesting because this is made in Korea, but it has a .jp web address, so I'm not really sure what's going on there, but what I am sure of is that this ink is a stellar one, and you want to check it out. So these are all very travel themed things. I really like the way that they have done the branding and all this jazz. You have this cool like old-timey suitcase looking thing with this little chili pepper here on the handle as a name tag. That's the First Point logo. I suppose there, slow down, make it bouncy. But Color Traveler, for every color journey, you open it up, you got like your little suitcase thing here. Don't carry your fountain pen like that. That's not a great idea, but whatever. Don't use it for purposes other than writing. Yeah, no problem. So inside here, you have the bottle of ink, which, as you can see, is down to, ooh, I don't know, about there-ish. I keep refilling this. I just can't stop. I'll tell you why here in a little bit, but love this ink. Totally worth it. And then you also have a few other inclusions in here. Like you have this little card, which has some stickers and that sort of thing on it. These South Korean ink companies really do kind of go all out for their inclusions. So you have there several little stickers and then a little story that tells you about the ink and its sort of its inspiration. So Saijo in oh man, I did not try that. Higashi Hiroshima is one of Japan's foremost places for sake. The foundations of brewing Ginjo sake were established there, and today Saijo is called the home of Ginjo. Almost 20,000 people visit their annual sake festival in October. Buildings featuring old-fashioned red brick chimneys and traditional black Nemako walls line Saijo's Sakagura Street, creating its unique townscape. Saijo Sake Brewery Black is inspired by the black Nemeko walls, which shine in contrast to the white brewery buildings. Oh, interesting. So they must have like another ink that is related to this. I don't have the black yet, so one of these days I'll grab that, I'm sure. Also in here you will find a little pipetter and a bottle, so that if you are going traveling and don't want to take this whole bottle of ink with you, but you do want to have your red brick chimney available to refill your pen, well, you just like take some of this out of there, put it in your little vial here, throw this in your luggage, and away you go. It's a very nice little vial, little, seal there and all that jazz. Really cool. Now you're going to want to bring the pipette with you because this is pretty small in terms of like an opening to fill a pen from, but like, whatever, I'll throw those in a baggie and take them with me sometime. I think that's real neat. So let's get this closed up and let's take a look at what this looks like on some paper. It's a banger. All right, so there you go. This is Color Traveler's Saijo Red Brick Chimney on Nebula Casual Note. This is a 90 GM2 paper, 90 grams per meter squared, grams per square meter, I should say. Medium wet flow, I would say. It's not great on 20 pound. That's like my only problem with this, although the nib I have this in is fairly wet and ready to rock, so it is maybe doing some of that, but we'll take a look at that here very soon. Qualities, beautiful shading. I mean, look at the colors you get from this. It's just so good. I really like it. The pen I've had it in is a Pilot Custom Heritage 91 double broad, which I have now with a perspective grind from my friend Gina over at Custom Nib Studio. They make some great grinds, and this is one of my very favorite nibs. I turned this like slightly boring double broad, which is just kind of a big blob, that's how double broads are, into something really kind of special. You can see here the different line variation I get from this thing. We'll look at that nib here very soon. But such a fun color. Description online say it's a deep blackened red. I don't know if it's like a blackened red, but sort of got this ketchup-y sort of color to me. Great flow, great shading, great ink. 30 ml bottles are $22, which is maybe on the spendy side, but I think it's kind of a medium side for this ink and totally worth it for the coolness of this ink. The chromatography here is pretty great. So let's take a look at the pen and then we'll do a water test and all that jazz. So this is the pen. This is the Pilot Custom Heritage 91. It's a fairly like a standard black and silver pen. I keep the double broad on there so I know which pen this is because they're all the same color. And then this is what the nib looks like now. So it used to just be one big blob of tipping. Now the perspective grind gives it like a slope and a point and an edge It's kind of awesome and pretty well. Every time I get a double broad nib now, I'll either take it to Gina and get her perspective on it, or I'll take it to Audrey and have her put a sig on it. So just two of my favorite nibists doing awesome stuff to nibs. And this is kind of one of my favorite combinations. Let's see if I have ink left in here. I keep using, well, I got a little bit. Yeah, there's a drop or so left in there. Will I refill it with this ink? Yeah, almost certainly. I don't care if I have 100 pens inked. This one stays inked, and I love Chimney, so red brick Chimney, so it'll probably stay with there. All right, let's do some water on here, and then we'll take a look at other papers and some comparable ink colors and that sort of thing. Got a good amount of water on there. Check out that chromatography while we're waiting for the water to do its destructive work. But look at that, it's like bright yellow and then like sort of pink in there, magenta, really interesting color going on there. I think that's very cool. You actually see a little bit of the yellow over here seeping out. Very neat. I want to compare this right quick to Kotohira Happy Yellow now that I'm looking at both of them. So there we go. Yeah, that's definitely the right ink, but yeah, you got like oranges and magentas in there, a little bit of yellow. What stayed behind is pretty much just yellow. Actually, you can see very sharp divisions there where water didn't get on it. This is not a water-resistant ink. You might be able to figure out what you wrote because there will be this sort of like orangey yellow left behind after you blot it away, but it's definitely not water resistant as a red or anything like that. But might be really interesting for some art uses. I'm not artsy like that, but maybe it would be cool for that, given that it's got so many ink colors in there, or dye colors. Let's look at the Kotohira right quick. Yeah, so this is what Kotohira is like. You have this same, I think it's a kind of a very similar yellowy base, but then this one is just super bright pink, whereas this one went to a darker sort of magenta with a little bit of like purpley pink in there as well. Interesting to see how much you can get like a change in the actual color of the ink. These two having fairly similar bases and components, but wow, very different inks. So yeah, very cool. Man, ink mixing is such a magical thing. All right, let's look at this on a bunch of other papers. All right, first up, this is the 20-pound, 30% recycled Staples paper. And as you can see, I said it didn't do very well on this paper, but I mean, this is a fairly large nib putting out a fair amount of ink, and this is like a mildly wet ink. So yeah, a little bit of feathering, a little bit of spread, that kind of thing, a little bit of bleed, but not really any worse than most of the other stuff on here. This paper is just not really well suited to fountain pen ink in general. So, you know, take this with a grain of salt, but maybe use either a finer nib than a double broad, or, you know, just don't use it on this bad paper. It might just not be the right place for it. Now, a place that is the right place for it, Morriman Croquis. I love Morriman Croquis paper. Croquis means sketch, of course, and this paper is excellent for fountain pen inks. There is no bleed through, barely any show through, actually, even with this very dark color and this really thin paper here. But you can see this gorgeous shading, this kind of like mustardy look to it, or not, sorry, ketchupy sort of look to it. I really like it. It doesn't shade from one color to the other so much as it shades from light to dark of its own color, which is kind of brilliant. So this is from 99% Invisible City by Roman Mars and Kurt Kolstad. Thank you very much, my sister Julie, for hooking me up with this book that I have been transcribing forever. So hit the pause if you want to learn a little bit about cat's eyes, which is like reflective bumps in the middle of the road, a little bit of their history. All right, there you go. Next up. Next is my Inky Fingers currently inked book. This is wheat straw paper, which is kind of like bamboo or sugarcane papers. And there it is on here. It looks awesome on here. I really love the way that it picked up the color and gave me some of that shading without, doing anything weird like you saw on the what do you call it? The copy paper there. It just looks really good. Lastly, for papers, Galen Leather Co. has this, the Everyday book. This is old school Tomoe River. Where is it? There it is on the edge right there. It looks excellent on Tomoe River. I love how smooth the shading is. I mean, look at this little scribble. Just like super smooth and beautiful. I think this looks really good on this paper. So real neat. Okay, time for some color comparisons. Here is Red Brick Chimney right there on a Colodex card. You can find these at Well Appointed Desk and at lots and lots of pen stores. And there is Diamine Sugar Turtle, a turtle belly. This is an exclusive from Sugar Turtle Studios. This one is definitely a lot like lighter and like brighter red than Red Brick Chimney is. We also have Papier Plume's Bloody Pumpkin, which was an exclusive for Halloween of 2020. I don't think you can get that anymore, but this kind of leans pinkish. It's a really interesting color. Wearingle Captain Hook, I think, is pretty darn close to this one, although it's a bit more crimson, I would say. Then I have here, actually, let's go a little bit like this. Then we have here Taisho Roman Teranishi Guitar Modern Red, which I think is as close as I can get to the same color as Red Brick Chimney, but as you can see, it's not really the same. This like looks a little bit more, I don't know, maroon perhaps than Modern Red is. And then I've got a couple here as well. This is Ackerman's 18 Garud Road, actually, I think is how that's said, according to my friend Annabelle, which is, I think, too dark to be really a match, but it's definitely close. And then lastly, Mont Blanc's Corn Poppy Red, which I'm not sure if they make anymore. This is a really interesting red. It's coming off a little brighter on camera than it is in real life. It's one of those colors, but it's fairly close to Red Brick Chimney. So these are about as close as you're going to get, I think, to this color. But find yourself some Red Brick Chimney, because dang, that's a good ink. It's one of my favorites, and make no mistake, I really love this ink. So, go check it out. And thanks, Lisa at Vanness Pens, for introducing me to this awesome ink that has become one of my favorites. So go out there and find your favorite ink. Thanks very much for watching. And, until next time, peace out.